What's going on, guys? Dottz Gaming here, and today I'm bringing you all my updated Magicka Dragonknight PvP build for the Dragonhold patch of the Elder Scrolls Online. So if you had been paying attention to my Magicka build on my website, dottsgaming.com, you will have seen that it went through a lot of different iterations the first few days of the patch. I had a lot of trouble kind of figuring out how I wanted to update my MagDK for Dragonhold. Our dots are overall much weaker than they were last patch. Burst damage has gone up a ton, and Magsorks and Magplars are all over the place, and not to mention that our sustain took a huge hit this patch. So overall, at the start of the patch, I was just struggling to figure out how I wanted to do this, where I needed to start, what areas I needed to try to focus on. And through all my testing, this is what I came up with to work the best for me and my play style. Basically, what I tried to do is find out the minimum amount of damage and sustain I needed to be able to 1vx reliably. And then I pumped everything else into my defense to help make sure that I could survive everybody trying to burst me and all the different burst damages coming out this patch. So this is what we are running, and this is what I've been liking, what I've been using, and what's working for me. So if you've been having trouble with your MagDK, hopefully this set helps you out. This setup helps you. But if this isn't something you'd run, or maybe you'd want to try something different, then, feel free to pass the build by, alter it as you need, whatever you got to do. But this is how I have been enjoying my MagDK this patch. So moving right into it, our first set is 2 pieces of Bloodspawn. Should not be a surprise to see Bloodspawn on my Magicka Dragonknight. I use Bloodspawn on 98% of the builds I make for this guy. It's just an incredibly good gear set. Gives us a little bit of everything that we need. Ultimate Generation basically gives us more damage as well as more sustain because of Battle Roar. We get the extra resistances, especially when outnumbered. This will proc all the time, so it gives us a ton more tankiness. And the extra stamina recovery is very welcomed because we are not a vampire on this build. Getting that extra bit of stamina recovery helps with us being able to sprint and move around when we're using Race Against Time. So I do like Bloodspawn for that reason. Our main defensive 5-piece is going to be Buffer the Swift. I really like Swift this patch. It really, I feel, helps a lot with a lot of the burst damage coming out from other players. This gives us a line of maximum Magicka, 2 lines of armor, and it reduces damage from players taken by 10%. This can't be mitigated through. This can't be penetrated through. That is a true 10% damage decrease from your opponents. So it is incredibly helpful for me to have this set. Thankfully, I didn't need to run a sustain set on this build. I was able to get my sustain from other sources, and I didn't require a sustain set. Also, being a Breton does help a lot. I'm actually going to mention Race right now when talking about my sets, because if you don't run a Breton, I think you might need to run a sustain set this patch. So I would recommend, if you're not giving Breton a try, I really, really like it. The extra cost reduction as well as the little bit of magic recovery you get for being a Breton has proved invaluable for me this patch, and it allows me to run a defensive set to make myself that much tankier in this current metagame. And our big offensive 5-piece is going to be Silks of the Sun. So a line of health, a line of Magicka, a line of spell damage, and then it gives 400 spell damage to our flame damaging abilities. Really, really like Sun. It gives a ton of extra consistent damage to our flame skills. We don't have to wait for a proc. We don't have to wait for anything to come up. We just have this damage up all the time, and it helps keep our damage very, very respectable. But yeah, if I had Burning Spellweave, I'd probably try it out here. But honestly, I've really been liking Sun. I've really been enjoying it. It boosts the healing of Flame Lash as well as Burning Embers. And sure, it doesn't boost up Cauterize or Coag, but we still get... It's always there. It's always up. We don't have to wait for a proc, so we can basically do our damage and burst on our damage window whenever we have it available. But if you're, against Sun and you don't like it, Burning Spellweave could also work on the front bar as well. But I also don't have a BSW Inferno staff. But from my testing, I've really been enjoying Sun, and yeah, I'm really liking the set. And then on our back bar, we are actually running Death's Wind. We are running 2 pieces of Death's Wind on our back bar for another line of armor. Now, I know some people are going to fire back with Dottz. Why are you not running Potentates? Potentates gives 5% mitigation against players. So when you run multiple sources of percent mitigation, they are calculated multiplicatively. So the more sources of percent mitigation you use, the less effective they become. So because we already have 10% mitigation from Swift, and we also have minor protection on our back bar, Death's Wind ended up being slightly more effective than Potentates in terms of the amount of mitigation on your back bar. Now, granted, while Death's Wind is more effective, it can be penetrated through, so that is something to consider. So if you're facing a target with a lot of penetration, you will lose some of that armor value. But in general, I think you will get a bit more mileage out of Death's Wind. Like I said, the more percent mitigation sources you use, the less effective they become. So Potentates wasn't really giving me as much as Death's Wind, but if you still like Potentates because you don't want it to be able to be penetrated through it all, then you can feel free to run it. But I liked the Death's Wind personally, especially through my testing. Death's Wind felt really, really nice. So we are using that on our back bar since we do not need Sun on our back bar since we have no flame damaging skills on that back bar. Now, in terms of traits and everything, this is where things kind of get a little bit important for this patch and enchants. We have 3 Prismatic and 4 Magicka. Our back bar shield is also Magicka. We are running 5 light and 2 heavy. I don't find the Undaunted passives really... the medium Undaunted passive I don't think outweighs running 2 pieces of heavy. I find the 2 heavy to be pretty needed, so I am running 2 heavy. We're running triple arcane on our jewelry, and unfortunately we do have to run 1 Magicka recovery glyph this patch. I tried to run the exact same amount of sustain that I ran last patch, and it just was not working for me, so I did need 1 more Magicka recovery glyph in order to make it work. And on top of that, I also needed to make my front bar staff charged. So charged increases are a percent chance to apply a status effect by 220%. Now, you might be wondering, why is that important for my sustain? They changed the combustion passive in Dragonhold to no longer have a cooldown. So whenever you apply the burning status effect to an enemy, you restore 500 Magicka. So the more we can apply the burning status effect to our enemies, the better sustain we will have. And we already get some increased sustain on that front bar from Elemental Force, which increases our chance to apply burning by 100%. And then this gives us another 220% chance to apply burning. Now, we also do run charged on the back bar as well. Again, I want that sustain on both bars, not just one. So being able to have that extra sustain from the burning status effect on the back bar is also very important. I did try defending here, and while the tankiness was really good from defending, I lost a really good 1vx I was recording because I just ran out of gas. So I changed this to charge, and it's proven to be much better. And then also your back bar shield, you're also going to want that to be Nirnhoned. Nirnhoned is more effective than reinforced. So if you are able to use a Nirnhoned shield, I would recommend it. But if you don't have Nirnhoned and only have reinforced, that'll be perfectly fine. It's like a very tiny difference. It's like maybe like 50 resistance. It's really, really small. But technically speaking, Nirnhoned is more effective, so that is why I'm using it. So that is what we are running gear-wise. In terms of our skills, we are using Flame Lash on our front bar. I still love Flame Lash. I know some people love Molten Whip, but I don't like the playstyle that comes along with Molten Whip. That's the biggest reason I don't use it, is I don't find the playstyle fun. So I just stick with regular old Flame Lash, and I still love it. You know, gives us that power lash whenever we hit an enemy that's off balance for extra damage, as well as a pretty juicy heal. So I really, really love Flame Lash just for the playstyle that comes along with it, the tempo that it gives the Magicka Dragonknight's gameplay. If you feel that, you know, you have enough tankiness with the build and that, you know, Flame Lash is a little unnecessary, you can try Molten Whip. I just personally don't like the playstyle, so I still use Flame Lash. We also have Burning Embers. Burning Embers got a pretty hefty nerf this patch, unfortunately. But, you know, it's still good to run. Gets 96% heal of the total damage inflicted when the effect ends. And it does apply the burning status effect the second we apply it. So it effectively lowers the cost of this skill by 500. So for us on our Breton, it costs about 2,000 Magicka. Like I said, the dot to this got hit pretty hard, which kind of sucks. But it is what it is. It's, in my opinion, Embers is still too good to not run. Like, it's still good enough, excuse me, it's better to run it than to not. So even though it took a pretty hefty hit, it's still worth using. Fossilize is our stun. Not much else to say about this skill besides it's a really good stun. Gives, you know, deals some damage, stuns the enemy, immobilizes them afterwards. It cannot be blocked or dodged, so that stun is going through. Be aware that upon the time of making this video, Fossilize is bugged. Goes us. So Fossilize is bugged because whenever you are facing an opponent that is using immovability pots, if you tried, like normally if someone's not able to be fossilized, your Fossilize will gray out. Fossilized will not gray out, so you will continually try to use it. Now, I have not seen this myself. I'm not 100% sure. To be honest, I wasn't checking, but I also had a friend who plays a lot of MagicK tell me that he was noticing that he would still be trying to use Fossilized against opponents that have a move pots up, but it would consume his Magicka, but it would not stun his opponent. So keep in mind, if you try to use this once and your opponent is not stunned, pay attention to their feet and wait for the stun immunity and CC immunity to wear off before you try to use this again, because you may just burn out your Magicka pool. We do run Elemental Drain. Elemental Drain is amazing for the extra penetration plus the minor Magicka steal. Very, very necessary for our sustain in this patch. We really need that minor Magicka steal. 600 effective Magicka recovery, but also the breach really helps with our damage, and most importantly, it costs nothing to use. We also have Cauterize on our front bar. Cauterize is an amazing skill, giving us Major Prophecy and a very nice heal on that front bar. There's not much to say about the skill. It's just really good. The more I've used it on all my builds in the past, the more I've come to love it. It's a really, really good skill. The heal, the prophecy, it just helps you with your healing package on that front bar with Flame Lash and Ember, so that you don't need to lean on Coag as much as if you weren't running this skill, you would need to lean on Coag way more. We are also running Ferocious Leap. So, of course, we are running the old DK Dunk on the build. So you launch yourself at an enemy, dealing damage to all enemies in the area, knocking them back and stunning them for 2 seconds. And then after leaping, you gain a damage shield. It's just too good to not run. The gap closer from this is really, really helpful. It's very cheap costing. It looks cool. The damage shield, everything. It's the Magicka Dragonknight ultimate, and is one of my favorite skills in the game. So definitely run this over other things. Plus, it's very cheap, so it's very easy to get to, especially with Bloodspawn. We have Degeneration as our source of major sorcery. Degen is still worth running. At first, I was kind of poo-poo on Degen, but the more I've used it, the more I've come to like it. It's still a very respectable dot, as you can see. It's nearly 12k damage over 12 seconds, so like comparatively, it's almost as good as fucking Burning Embers. So it's still worth using. We get 24 seconds of major sorcery as well. You also get those Mages Guild passives on the back bar, so definitely worth picking up. We also have Engulfing Flames. Engulfing Flames is very expensive this patch. It's very, very expensive this patch. It costs 3,000 Magicka on my Breton. But the extra flame damage that we get when we're all buffed up, once we're buffed up, that current value of Engulfing Flames will go up to 10%. We do get that 10% extra flame damage against our targets. And I know a lot of the tooltips on the build don't look like anything super crazy because we're pretty defensive in nature. But Engulfing Flames plus LE Drain really does enable a lot of damage that will not show up on tooltips. So you are still able to deal plenty of damage and take tons of targets down between these two skills, and Engulfing Flames just, again, adds more consistent pressure to the build. You have a dot from Volatile, Engulfing, Degen, Burning Embers. You have the Burning status effect up basically 100% of the time, so you will have plenty of dots on your opponents. We also have Coag. Coag is our big burst heal in the back bar. If we need a big heal in a pinch, we use this. Volatile Armor is going to be our armor buff. Again, provides another dot, gives us some resistance, and returns damage whenever we take damage. So very, very good skill. We also have Race Against Time. Race Against Time is my movement skill of choice this patch, because especially for this build, we are playing a very defensive build. Having that minor force really helps out our damage a lot. A ton. The minor force, again, minor force, Engulfing Flames, Major Breach, we're able to get a lot of non-stat related bonuses to our class in order to deal some good damage. So I really do like Race Against Time for that reason. Plus, I really like the Major Expedition it provides. I tried Wings, and I liked Wings for about an hour, and then I hated Wings because it made me really, really slow. I don't mind it on my Stam DK, but for my Mag DK, I don't know. It just didn't feel nearly as good, so I do prefer Race Against Time, and I don't really want to run Vampirism again because the build is defensive in nature already. I'd rather run the more offensive choice for my movement buff. We also have Temporal Guard on our back bar simply for the minor protection. You can use this if you need to, like if you want to do some crazy plays and stuff, like jump off a keep or jump off a bridge and then Temporal Guard all the way back up. You just have to pray that the skill actually works. But I do like it because the minor protection combined with the 10% from Swift makes our back bar very, very tanky, and with Death's Wind as well. So in terms of our stats of what we're looking at about, we have no... Okay, so we have no bonus buffs from Cyrodiil. So we have about, on our front bar, 35k maximum Magicka, 26.6k maximum health, 16.5k max stam, 11, about 10,000, or 10,000, wow. I wish I had 10,000 regen. 1,050 Magicka recovery, 2,050 spell damage. Do keep in mind, this does not include the bonus from Silks of the Sun. Silks of the Sun is another 400 damage on top of this. 40% spell crit, 20k spell resist, 13k physical resist, and 3k crit resist. On the back bar, our Magicka recovery goes up a little bit to 1,064. Maximum Magicka goes up to 37,000. And our back bar resistance goes up to 25k and 18k respectively. And that is unbuffed. Now, in terms of our champion points, we run 32 points into Blessed, 56 into Elfborn, 64 into Elemental Expert, 37 into Spell Erosion, and 81 into Master at Arms. I don't run any into Thaumaturge. I don't think our Dottz are strong enough to... I think Dottz got nerfed enough that putting points into Thaumaturge isn't worth it. You don't really get enough of a damage boost, in my opinion, from your Dottz to even warrant the points here. I'd rather just lean into Master at Arms and an Elemental Expert to make my Leap and Lash hit as hard as they can, and it'll make targets easier to take down. 66 into Ironclad, 49 into Resistant, 37 into Thick Skin, 43 into Hardy and Ellie Defender, and 32 into Quick Recovery, 56 into Warlord, 27 into Sprinter, 75 into Arcanist, 72 into Shadow Ward, and 40 into Tumbling. Okay, so in terms of our rotation, I'm just going to do a brief rotation. It's like the same as at pretty much every patch. Magicka is all about buff and debuff maintenance. You need to always keep that in your mind whenever you're fighting somebody else. You want to maintain Volatile Armor on yourself. You want to maintain Cauterize on yourself. On your opponent at all times, you want to maintain Engulfing Flames, Degeneration, Elemental Drain, and what's it called? Burning Embers. You want to maintain those 4 skills in your opponent at all times. That's where the core of your damage and sustain is going to come from. Besides that, you stun them when the opportunity presents itself. You lash once. I don't recommend immediately lashing after that for your power lash because most people will instinctively dodge. I would fill that global with another skill. Once the person dodge rolls, then hit them with the power lash, and then go into leap when you want to burst. Defensively, your play is to see if you can get away not applying Coag first, okay? Defensively, try reapplying your Cauterize. Try reapplying your Burning Embers. Try going for a stun into your Power Lash, but if you desperately need that heal, then go onto the back bar, hit that Race Against Time, go into Coag, and then bam, you will have received a pretty juicy heal. Oh, in terms of Mundus and other stuff, I realized I missed that. We are running the Apprentice Mundus. We are running Tri-Stat Food, and we are using Tri-Stat Potions. Like I said, we're not a vampire or anything. And I'm pretty sure that covers it. But yeah, guys, that is it for my Magicka build. Magicka is feeling a little bit rough. Feeling a little bit rough is my first impressions for it in Dragonhold. And this is the best I was able to get it to run for myself personally, and this is what I am enjoying. You know, most importantly, this build's fun for me. I was finding that when I tried to do more squishy setups with you know, more damage and more sustain and stuff, that I felt that in certain situations, if I got caught at the wrong moment, I would just get bursted down. And running Buffer of the Swift allows me to mitigate a ton of that burst, be able to heal myself, be able to keep going, and be able to burst on my opponents when the situation presents itself. So this, again, is just how I've been liking to play my Magicka this patch, and this is how I've been enjoying to use it. But if you guys like this build as well, please slap a like on it. If you have any questions or comments about the build, feel free to leave them below. Hopefully you guys, if you do choose to run this build, it does work out well for you. For more great footage on the Elder Scrolls Online and other video games, please hit that sub button as well as the bell to keep notifications on. And for a written version of this guide, feel free to check it out on dottsgaming.com. So thank you all so much for stopping by. Appreciate it very much. As always, I'm Dottz Gaming, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Slow, think El Castro, knowing that the past broke, not understand our life's like a blast, whoa, understand rules, it's eternity to blast mode, listen, bad to be around, feel the ready though. Grooving on that speed when we up in the stereo. Listen, put the volume up, let's say what's up. Listen, all we doing this music, don't foolish up. Room with my team, 30 North, we around. If you're looking for them boots, out sale for the crowd. If you understand, listen. Now being heated and fitting, putting this out, can you feel it in the wishing?
You seem ready to give up. Keep going, don't you stop. A little ain't enough, 'cause I am easy. So you wanna get to know me? I ain't gonna give you any help. Guess you're gonna have to show me. All of you, nobody else. So you wanna get to know me? I ain't gonna give you any help. If you really wanna, if you really wanna get to know me.
2014, tell them holla at you, telling whole scene. Make some bite at you, put it all and break apart. Hope you good, don't break apart. Essence of the dark twist. F it, you good, listen. Don't let them go and take your spot. Find your zone every day wishing. Family don't break apart. Damn, it's a cold ass world from the start. Very thing we gotta do, stay young, concerned. Wanna change, young fella, damn, who you gon' learn? If you understand, listen. Now being heated and fitting, putting this out, can you feel it in the wishing?
You seem ready to give up. Keep going, don't you stop. A little ain't enough, 'cause I am easy. So you wanna get to know me? I ain't gonna give you any help. Guess you're gonna have to show me. All of you, nobody else. So you wanna get to know me? I ain't gonna give you any help. If you really wanna, if you really wanna get to know me. If you really wanna, yeah.
We just go no, 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 no. No, we can't come close, come close. Got it for the low, 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 low. Waited for the 6, but it's going slow-mo. Yeah, don't go, don't go. I just can't come close, come close. I'm looking for the local, local. No, I don't wanna postpone, postpone. Yeah, whip it, flip it. I just wanna get it. Going all in and I won't stop winning. Whip it, flip it. I just wanna get it. Let it all go and I won't stop winning. No, I don't wanna hear about your front. Lot of bad stories coming out of one joint. I met a true bookie in the state of my mind. Now I know a lot of rookies coming over for the title, but I don't wanna fight, I just roll the dice. Do it for the money, yeah, do it for the price. Take it like a man, I don't take advice. Putting money on the table like a Russian with the spice. We just go no, 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 no. You just can't come close, come close. Got it for the low, 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 low. Waited for the 6, but it's going slow-mo. Yeah, don't go, don't go. You just can't come close, come close. I'm looking for the local, local. No, I don't wanna postpone, postpone. Yeah, whip it, flip it. I just wanna get it. Going all in and I won't stop winning. Whip it, flip it. I just wanna get it. Let it all go and I won't stop winning. No, 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 no. No, we can't come close, come close. Got it for the low, 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 low. Waited for the 6, but it's going slow-mo. Yeah.